5 today. Can you share something about those moments of close proximity, the moments when Prime Minister came to Delhi for the first time, the first day when he entered the Prime Minister's office, and any personal anecdotes that you can share which you think will be meaningful to our audience? Sir.
Thank you, Arnab, for giving a very, very illustrious kind of introduction to my career. Today is a very special day for all of us, for the country, for the citizens, the well-wishers of the country. It is the birthday of our Prime Minister. Prime Minister Modi is not an ordinary person. You can, of course, describe that he was a great success in Gujarat as Chief Minister. He is also today, after completing 2 terms and now in the 3rd term, those who would evaluate him perhaps will give him distinction marks for steering the country. Since you asked about my early experience with the Prime Minister,
Yes.
I first met him on 20th May 2014. He took oath, if I am not mistaken, 26th May. And then I joined the office. The most important message that I got in the first week of my innings with him, he wanted to define the role of what the Principal Secretary should be. It was clearly explained and conveyed that the Principal Secretary is a backroom boy. He must not reach out to the press, as that's the job left to the political leaders. And he repeatedly mentioned to me that you must give me your free and frank advice after evaluating all the proposal, its consequences, and you should then leave it for the final decision to the leader, that is the Prime Minister, and again take over that responsibility of implementation after he has cleared the details of any proposal which comes to him. So it was very clear, the broad contours that he had defined, that where am I supposed to, in what manner am I supposed to assist him in his discharge of functions. I would like, perhaps I must introduce some of the features of this Prime Minister, which was also very clear to me in about fortnight working with him.
Yes.
He made it clear that he will lead the country, he will be responsible for the policies, consequences, implementation, its success. He clearly used to say that, look, I do not blame my team. I would never blame my colleagues. And he would also say repeatedly that I will never preach anything or expect anything from the bureaucracy, which I do not practice himself. So something which he practices himself, only those are the kind of things that he would preach or expect the conduct of the bureaucracy. So in many respects, एक जो लीडर में विश्वास होता है,
जी
लीडरशिप में ट्रांसपेरेंसी होती है, लीडरशिप को जिम्मेदारी लेने की एक हैसियत होती है, ये सभी क्वालिटीज दैट वाज देयर इन अबंडेंस. And then the relationship became not just functional. Functional, of course, the relationship will be, because he is the leader, the Prime Minister, and I was his principal secretary. But what is called a very congenial atmosphere, where every day was a very pleasant experience working with him.
Sir, tell me, in your years of working with him,
asking.
So sorry to interrupt, sir. Please continue, sir. No, I was asking you that in all your years of working with him, simple question. Simple question, sir, to you. One, does the Prime Minister get angry or anxious? This is my question to you. Does Narendra Modi get angry or anxious? Secondly, what is the personal side of working with Narendra Modi? You know, he comes across as a tough leader, no-nonsense man, a good listener. But is there a softer side of him, anything that you can share with us? So does he get angry and anxious because he appears cool and collected all the time? Must be human. There must be moments of his anxiety or anger. Have you ever witnessed that? And secondly, is there a softer side to the Prime Minister that you've seen or can talk about?
Let me give you one example of how he would conduct himself, how would he sort of guide his teammates. There is a very good program of review of the projects, the progress of the projects. Every month it would happen. He would pick up 6 to 8 national projects, and then he would like to know if there is any delay, if there is a reason because of which implementation is not going as per his expectation.
Yes.
Is there any budgetary issue, release of funds? So state chief secretaries were also invited in that review meeting. If a project was not going as per his expectation, I never saw him losing temper.
Never?
I, of course, never heard that he is, giving some kind of a warning that you will not be there or the punishment would follow if the project is not implemented. His maximum utterance of dissatisfaction would be when he would, in a very smiling manner, tell the chief secretary or secretary to government that won't you like to complete this project during your tenure? And that was enough. That was just enough for him, the officers, to know what is the message being conveyed. So, you know, you talked about the softer side.
Yes.
And he appears to be a very hard taskmaster. We never entered his office or his ante-room and inquired from his junior staff there, working very, very, closely like private secretaries and all, that how is the mood of the boss. Very often, subordinates enter the office of the boss by first inquiring about the mood of the boss. In his case, I found that he would be relaxed, totally relaxed. He will have no paper waiting at his table. I never saw any paper pending with him. And the time that he gives to you, it's totally devoted to you. As you said, he's a very good listener. What he does not like, he may not express it, is that if a decision is called for, that decision must come from the Prime Minister of India in that meeting. If he ever postponed a decision because there were certain informations wanting, it will make him sad. Once or twice he did mention to me that, Mr. Misra, perhaps the homework of your team was not good enough. But that was only if we could not steer him in the direction where the decision should be taken. Even a rejection of the proposal, in his mind, it was a decision. The first two meetings on GST, which late Mr. Jaitley and few of us were extremely enthusiastic for a national tax regime, we were advocating it before him, and he did not accept it. Because he thought that this taxation proposal is not providing an element of equity to consumptive states and manufacturing states. That was his problem. But once he said no, that particular day it was no, and you had to come back with your strategy if it needed review. So in his mind, even a negative decision but clear decision was a decision. But he was very receptive. The same subject, the same details, with some different way of presentation. And in the third meeting, he was ready to review his own decision.
No,
and the
GST. There's one other question I wanted to add to you out there, because what you're presenting is a very decisive side of the Prime Minister. I'm sorry I'm taking too much time, because I thought I should ask for less time from you, but I cannot but listen to you. So I'll ask you one more question. Sir, the thing is that people would want to know, because when you were in Prime Minister's office, demonetization happened. I think it was November 8th, 2016. You were Principal Secretary when that happened. And also, I think when the first surgical strikes happened. Were you there, sir? You were in office when the surgical strikes also happened, the first one?
Yes.
So,
very much.
In these moments,
very much.
They say it's very lonely at the top. The general phrase is very lonely at the top. What was the Prime Minister's frame of mind, on those days? Demonetization day particularly, or surgical strikes. Can you share any personal experiences of that?
I will talk about the both because they also open up a very interesting mindset of the Honorable Prime Minister.
Yes.
On the issue of demonetization, 2 months before the announcement was made, or 3 months maybe, he had discussed in great detail his framework. What is it that he wanted and why? Mm-hmm. The main issue on which he was very, very emphatic was the role of black money in Indian economy.
Yes.
And what measures must be taken to curb that. We worked the details. There were obviously people who were opposed. The limitation was that it had to be kept a great secret. In the scheme of such things, you just cannot let it know by the masses.
Yes.
I mean, it meant the transaction of the crores and crores of money which was going to be denotified.
Yes.
So much was the secrecy that we had to fill up the ATM with the new notes which are going to be in circulation 2 days after. And everyone said that, look, it cannot be done like that. You have to permit us to take out the new notes and send them all over the country. It had to go. I rushed to him and I said, sir, this is what is to be done. And perhaps there is a risk. In 1 minute, he said, look, Mr. Misra, the bottom line is, if there is any leakage of this program, all of you will be responsible. And I would suggest that you find new ways to send money and fill up. Maybe ATM will function after a day. But don't do this mistake of sending new notes 2 days before and taking out the old notes. He was not lonely in this decision. He took the matter to the cabinet, everybody endorsed. But yes, he was responsible and he knew it clearly that whatever decision and whatever are the consequences of this historic decision, the credit and the blame will be his, because he would never blame his generals. He would never ever blame that the homework was not done adequately.
Very important.
There were certain pitfalls. When I look back, many people ask that, do you think it achieved all its targets? The answer is no. It did not achieve everything. The level of conversion that took place in banks, unprecedented, unexpected, and I would concede that the exchange was not always through fair means in banks. I would admit that when there was a little shortage of currency notes, there was inadequacy in homework of the bureaucracy. I include myself in that.
Correct.
But he never mentioned. You know what he did? At 12 in the night, when he was given the data by my very dear colleague who is now Principal Secretary, the currency notes, the number of notes, the rate of conversion, people, manner in which they are taking out. So it was very clear that now there is going to be a physical limit, and perhaps the printing of note is not keeping pace with bringing it out in the sector, entire banking sector. That was the day when he first announced his determination to go digital. In 24 hours, the fate of the country was changed. Trust me.
Amazing.
Today, when we say that India is even ahead of developed countries
in UPI,
in the digital transaction,
yeah,
UPI and many other things.
Yes.
Our habit of making payments
yes,
in the shops, the
Yes.
shopkeeper,
Yes.
the petty shopkeeper, everyone is keeping POS machine. It is at petrol stations, the card system introduced. All this was his vision. He could see the potential of digitization, and that was introduced. And that resolved the issue of shortage of new currency.
no, I think that's very important. You also,
You asked about
also on the first day of the surgical strike, again people say lonely at the top. Did you feel?
Yeah.
Did you witness anything then which gave you an insight on that?
This I am very keen to say because in many respects, he was also clearly defining the work distribution in the Prime Minister's office. When this decision took, I was not there present in his final decision. I didn't know the time and the date on which it is going to happen. The details were known. We got to know after a few hours. He, of course, was monitoring it the whole night. We were told all the details, what was happening, and how the Prime Minister at his residence was monitoring and taking information from the generals. Next morning, I very smilingly congratulated him, and I told him that, sir, as your principal secretary, I thought I should have known the exact moment when it was, the historic thing was taking place.
Okay.
First he kept quiet. Then he said that your colleague Mr. Dawal knew it, the facts about the time. You know, he is National Security Advisor. Even today he is there. So he mentioned he was aware about this fact. And I think in these matters, sometimes you work on the principle of need to know basis.
Need to know basis. Wow.
You know that famous sentence of yes, Prime Minister.
Yes, of course.
That how much the Prime Minister should know.
Yeah.
And his principal secretary said it's on a need to know basis only. I brief him. So he jokingly told me it is on need to know basis.
Wow.
So that's the kind of decision making that he was doing. Clearly, there are certain decisions which must be taken by NSA. He must know first,
Yeah.
and then I should know.
But I also love the
And
subtlety
there are
with which he
areas
has
which
been
I
speaking. Like everything. What I come across in this conversation is, viewers, if you listen, here is a man, he works so closely with the Prime Minister. He's senior to the Prime Minister in age, by the way, Nripendra Misra. But the respect the Prime Minister has shown to him, the subtlety of the relationship and the personal warmth, I think these insights are very useful. And we have not got these insights. In fact, what we'll do, it's not possible to encapsulate all this in the course of one conversation. We would like you very much to visit our campus to do a whole series of podcasts on working with Modi, because these are the insights which will inspire the next generation. But Nripendra Misra ji, I thank you very much. Your experiences of working with the Prime Minister in his first term are most important. I wish you good health as well. And we all wish the Prime Minister the best of health and many more years of service to the nation. Nripendra Misra ji, thank you very much, sir, for now. Thank you, sir.
I join in your good wishes for the Prime Minister. We all really want him to lead this country in a manner, and the only word I find is the Urdu word zunoon.
Junoon.
If there is a person who has a zunoon for this nation, that's he and he and he.
Fantastic, sir. Thank you. Very well expressed, sir. Thank you once again, sir. Thank you.
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the